In the next 12 months, top earners won't be programmers, they'll be AI power users. So I'm gonna go through the top 9 AI skills with the highest income potential that you can use today, even if you're starting from zero. And stick around because the last one is going to be the absolute highest paying one. This isn't just a ChatGPT tutorial, it's the blueprint to dominating AI. Which takes it to skill number 1, which is prompt engineering with the income potential of $50 to $100. Now, this has to be just as valuable as software developers around 10 years ago because the prompts that you give these AI sources is now everything. So if you ask it a bad question, it's going to give you a bad answer. So here's a 4-step structure that you want to follow to make sure you're getting what you look for. So rule number 1 is you want to define the role. So if you are looking at it as a business owner, tell it to act as a CEO. If you're trying to get therapist help, by the way, like ChatGPT is amazing as a therapist, it's actually better than most humans. You want to say, look at it through the lens of a therapist. If you want to get, help with science, like ask it to be, hey, what would you say as the world's top scientist? So rule number 1 is just make sure you want it to look through the proper lens of the information you're trying to get. Rule number 2 is then you want to provide data and examples. So I was actually trying to come up with a before I die list, and it's basically just things I want to do before I die. And so what I did is I was asking it a question. So I said, hey, coming from the world's like most fulfilled person or top adventurer, that goes back to rule number 1. What are things I need to do before I die? And then I started giving it things I had done. I said, I went to Carnival in Brazil. I've been to Africa. I've been to Greece. I've traveled most of the world. I bought a Lamborghini. I bought $1 million car. I've lived in, mansions and stuff like that. So I was just giving it some of the things I've done that were high level so it could kind of have a little bit of a context. So make sure that you're providing data and examples. Okay, I want stuff similar to this so it has something to go off of, because if you're just throwing a dart out there and it can go anywhere, you're not going to get the best data. Number 3 is then make a specific ask. So if I'm asking, hey, where are the best places to go on Earth? I might say, hey, where are the best places to go on Earth during the summer or during the winter, or if I want to ski, or if I want to halo jump or skydive or whatever. Like give it an actual specific ask versus very broad. And then number 4 is then request output format. So, ask it to be in a PDF or a Google Doc or to give you bullet points. Like the more information you give it, aka the prompt engineering, the better the answer is going to be. Which takes us to skill number 2, which is AI assisted software development with income potential of $100 to $200 an hour. So there are a lot of things out there right now that can do what's called no coding. Now, I really haven't spent a ton of time on this. I'm actually building my own tech company right now. I've invested in other tech companies, so I own 3 companies right now. I'm actually building my own tech company right now. So they are building that, developers are, and they have 2 other tech companies. So I think you can use it for some things, but I don't think it will be super robust. Like I don't think you could go high level with no coding, but there's Replit, there's Retool for non-tech founders. So you can start building this. So step number 1 is if you wanted to do this, you want to ask ChatGPT to create you a step-by-step course on exactly how to do it. You can literally go to ChatGPT and say, hey, I want to learn how to speak Spanish. Give me a step-by-step course in the fastest time possible. And it's crazy like what it will actually put out there for take this course, listen to this person, hire this individual, and it breaks it down in a very simple format. So step number 2 is you want to identify real customer problems. One of the things I've done is I've taken on portfolio companies, and when I have those portfolio companies, the things I look for, it's really just 2 things. They're a great CEO, so they actually want to work hard. They have intangible skill sets, good at sales, good at talking, stuff like that. And then number 2 is they have a really good offer. When you combine those things together, what I'll ask them is say, hey, what are things that your customers are constantly asking for that's repetitive? And then that can become the software. So one of the things I'm actually building right now, it has to be good, but it's called Trainer Chat. And the issue that a lot of my clients have, they're personal trainers. I get about 50% personal trainers because I started in the fitness industry, is they don't want to DM all day. And so I said, hey, if they could DM as good as me and they didn't have to manage it, I could charge an arm and a leg, and it would be a really good product that they would never cancel as long as they continue to run their business, okay? And then number 3 is you actually want to build the solution. So over the last year and a half, I've been building my own tech software, which is called Trainer Chat, right? I think what a lot of people get stuck is they just talk and talk and talk and talk, and they just go in circles and they never actually do the thing. At some point, you have to do the thing to learn it. So people are always worried about what's going to go wrong or it's not going to work out. But one of the funniest times in my life is when I was at a mastermind event and Alex Becker was there. Alex Becker is worth probably $200 million. Really smart guy. Kind of strange, but he's a smart guy. And one of the things he said really stuck out to me is I was there after he had built Hyros, and Hyros is worth around 200 million right now. And he said he did a 2-day presentation. At the end of the presentation, he goes, to be honest, if you want to learn software, just start doing it. And that really resonated with me because you go into a new thing and you just figure it out. And then as you're learning new things, you think you should have it all figured out, right? Because you've gotten to a certain level. But the reality is like, as you start taking steps, the next step will kind of come to you and you're going to see what you need to learn. And that's the best way to learn, is just take action. So make sure you're building the solution. But maybe you're not a builder, but you're a designer, which takes us to skill number 3, which is AI design with income potential of $100 to $200 an hour. So one of the things you can do is you can ask for pictures from ChatGPT almost every day, or for different images and ads and thumbnails. I've been using it a lot for ads, especially text ads. And I'll say, hey, just have it say this, because text ads, sometimes what's great about those is people will be scrolling through and they see the text and it immediately resonates with them. And so I'll just ask ChatGPT to do it versus going to a graphic graphic designer or something like that. And so I'm able to create projects probably, I would say, at least 3 times faster by not having to go to a graphic designer and just using ChatGPT. So the ways you can do this is, number one is a generative photo. Okay, so one of the easiest ways is you just take a photo of yourself, take your phone, take a picture of yourself, put it into ChatGPT, and then say, hey, make me similar photos, or add me with a hat, or add me with a rabbit. You can just ask it to make weird stuff, and it will just pop out photos really fast. And again, if you're clueless, just ask the AI to teach you. Number two is you can do AI photo editing. So you can take old photos of people that have low resolution, for example, and then if you want to add something funny, or maybe it's their birthday, or you could just ask it to increase the resolution, because pictures that, you know, are 7 years old maybe just might not be exactly the type of format they want or the quality, and you can increase the quality, or you can add funny stuff to it. So for birthdays or April Fools or Christmas, you can make funny pictures by doing AI photo editing. So number three is AI web design. So you can actually use Figma, that's one of the softwares you can use, to actually edit up a website for you, so you don't actually need a developer anymore. So the other thing I've really liked about AI is saving me so much money on payroll, because things in the past that I had to have a full-time person on because of my team and my clients, now I can use AI and I'm not able to have as high of a payroll, which obviously puts more money in my pocket. Which takes us to skill number four, which is AI video editing, which is $100 to $200 an hour skills. So this saves a lot of time now for editors, because the editors are more like the QB calling the play and the AI does the heavy lifting. So because of AI now, the editor knows what it needs to look like, and the editor doesn't have to go in and use ScreenFlow or other editing software to make it a lot better. So one of the skills you need to have here is clipping short content. So you can use Firecut or Opus. I'm still playing around with it. I'm not super impressed yet. It's in the beginning stages, but instead of editors taking hours and hours to go through stuff, which takes a ton of time, they can do it in a fraction of the time now. So they can load it up, it goes through, it finds kind of the viral real moments, and then it can cut it up. And that makes a huge difference, because you're now able to create viral clips without taking all the time. Now, WAP actually has added this into their service, and I'm not too high on it, but one of the reasons I actually started to use it, or tried it out, I guess I should say tried out because I haven't used it, is they actually had clipping. Now they had real video editors, but I'm assuming a lot of the video editors are using AI to actually clip stuff up and then send it back to you. Number two would be generative video. So you can use avatars from Synthesia. Hopefully I said that right. And my team has not only started doing this with images, but with video form too. Like, it's not there yet, but I think in the next 2 years, you'll actually be able to create videos. Like, I'll be in a video fully AI generated. In fact, I shot a video the other day and we were just using a green screen, and people were saying, hey, is this an AI generated video? I was like, no, like, I'm actually in the video. But it's crazy. People are already looking for that, because the technology, I think, will be there probably in about 2 years, and you won't even have to film content anymore. In fact, you can just be a content creator, but it'll just be your AI self doing all the content, which would be actually pretty crazy. And then number three would be using AI BRoll Search, or generation for context. So instead of, again, the editors having to go back and find old pictures of you and stuff like that, they can just make an AI image that looks pretty similar to you and just throw that in there, so they can generate the clips a lot faster. But when it comes to creativity, I actually think this is a better skill to have, which is skill number five, AI writing with income potential of $100 to $200 an hour. Now, the most valuable part of AI writing isn't the actual writing itself, in my personal opinion. It's gonna be extracting the idea. So for example, my team will use this stuff from podcasts, reels, and YouTube's coaching calls. They'll take all that, and then that will help them generate ideas for emails or newsletters or posts on Facebook, whatever, by using my actual voice, but then turning it into written word. Like, I can't tell you guys how much I've used AI now to use copy, because I'll go in and I'll usually write something. It takes me, 30 minutes, 40 minutes. I can go in now and say, hey, here's like an email I wrote, make something similar around this topic. And then the cool thing is it gives it to me, and I'm not gonna just use it as is, but then I can just edit from there. It's way easier and takes a lot less brain power to just edit something than actually create something from scratch. So that takes us to point number one, which is extraction. So the benefit is you can take a piece of long form content, so a YouTube video, a podcast, etc., and then you can repurpose it into small bites and pieces on Threads or a newsletter or, Facebook posts, whatever. And like, that to me is really the secret sauce, because especially for a copywriter, if you get a new client, you could take that client, put their videos into ChatGPT, and then build copy in its voice for emails, newsletters, whatever, and then you're not really starting from scratch, and it's also gonna be in their voice. The second thing would be ideation. So you can feed top performing content. So you can take your top performing content and then feed that to AI, and then it's gonna give you more ideas that can actually go viral. And that makes perfect sense, because if you're trying to make better YouTube videos or better Instagram reels, you wanna look at top performing content, and then especially your top performing content. So it says, hey, look at my most viral post, and then give me ideas to create more viral posts. So you're already using what has worked in the past and moving it to the future. And then number three is creation. So you can create custom chat GPTs in that person's voice and then feed it so it creates copy like them. And I see this working really well in ad agencies. Like, if you have 40 clients, for example, and you have a copywriter that has to write copy for them, you can literally create custom chat GPTs. Yeah, someone will still need to quarterback it, but you wouldn't need a full-time copywriter. You would just have it feed their best performing content, and then it would be in their voice, and you could ask it to spit out, hey, 8 emails around this, or hey, a Facebook post around this. I think that is where a lot of the leverage can be seen. But AI isn't just being used for the simple skills, which takes us into skill number 6, AI content marketing with income potential of $200 to $300 per hour. So a case in point of this example is OnlyFans. I will actually see people creating AI OnlyFans models, putting it out on the internet and making, you know, $2,000, $5,000, $10,000 a month. And it's a little crazy to me that guys will pay for that. I just like, you know, the stuff's free, and I just really don't understand why people use OnlyFans or guys in general. They actually create a lot of problem with girls, which is a whole nother video. But to get back to this, it actually is a way you can do it. Like, you can actually make money from that. So the blueprint of this is first define the final product. Like, do you want to create a product or a newsletter or an app, or do you want an OnlyFans account, right? Like, what are you trying to create? Number 2 is then create content using prior skills that we've covered. Like, this video is very in-depth on skills you can use those prior skills to create this content. And number 3, repurpose the content systematically. And then as you get more customers, they can refer other customers because they're impressed by how fast you're creating the content. So the cool thing now is there are services out there. I actually had someone approach me the other day and they said, hey, I will take your best performing content and create 300 reels a month and post them on trial reels. And the benefit is like, you'll get more reach because Instagram is pushing those reels to new customers, right? But really they're just using like AI and other stuff to do it. So I can just have someone on my team lead that type of project. But if you're working with like a newer business owner, they don't have a big team and they don't want to deal with it, they'll look at that and go, wow, like they're making me so much content, and they'll actually bring you referrals so you can continue to do that at scale. Which takes us to skill number 7, which is no code AI automation with income potential of $300 to $400 per hour. So the benefit here is you could get things done in minutes that used to take hours or days manually, and it makes it a lot less complex. So number 1 is you can map workflows. So showing the entire marketing strategy visually for people. So sometimes something I run into, and this is an example, is I will have clients and I say, hey, we need to do these things, but they can't visualize it. And a lot of times seeing is believing. And so you can actually map workflows and show the entire journey from an ad to an opt-in form, to a lead, to a call, to a sales, right, etc. And that actually makes it super valuable because the business owner will not just hear it, but they're gonna see it as well. The second thing you can do is identify cash drivers, and you wanna have an ROI focused automation. So again, remember, you wanna build things that are gonna create more sales for the business owner. So that can be things like chatbots, phone dialing, emails. You wanna set that up where it's automated technically so it can make them more money. So example, if you set up an AI bot that just called all their leads and tried to book appointments, that would make them more money, but they don't have to do it. Or you set up emails or text, or you set up a chatbot that does all the DMs for them. Now, the thing is, the caveat is it has to be good, right? But that's really anything in business or really anything in life. It has to be good. But if you could actually do that and take that off their plate, not only are you gonna make them more money, but you're gonna save them money from payroll because they don't have to use humans to actually do that. That is a great way you can make a lot of high-end money. And that's actually what I'm building some of my tech companies around, is this type of thought process. And then number 3 is you can build AI co-pilots into workflows. So you'll have a kind of AI robot, so to speak, looking at someone's work, and it'll kind of be like a co-pilot, and it'll be sitting there helping them. And to be frank, like one of the things I've used ChatGPT for in depth is if I have a thought process and I'm like, I don't know, maybe there's something better, I'll ask ChatGPT and I'll say, hey, how can I make this better? How can I, make this more viral? How can I make this hook more catchy? And it just gives me kind of like an instant coach and feedback that I wouldn't really get otherwise. But keep in mind, AI isn't just for simple problems, it's also for complex ones, which takes us to skill number 8, which is AI data analysis with income potential of $300 to $400 per hour. So I don't know if you guys knew this, but everything is ran off data. In fact, when I started building a tech company, I started realizing that really fast, that you have to have data to run these types of softwares. Like that, it doesn't just come from nothing. And so the steps that you would do to start doing this is number 1 is data cleanup. So you put the correct data in the right places so that the business owner can find it. It's wild to me how many people do not have accurate data. In fact, when I'm looking at a business, the first thing I'll ask for is data. And if a business owner comes to me and doesn't have the data, the first thing I need is go and get the data and bring it back. Because if they're saying, how do I improve my business? And they don't know what their cost per lead is, or their cost per call, or their CTR click-through rate on ads, or their cost per sell. Like, I don't know what's the actual bottleneck. If I know what the numbers are, and then I know what the numbers are supposed to be, it's easy to identify the bottleneck, and then it tells you where to look. Number 2 thing you can do is data enrichment. So you can add in info like credit card scores, available lines of credit. So imagine you're on a call with a potential client and you know that they have credit and they have a credit line and they say they can't afford it. You can use that against them. In fact, there's companies doing that right now where they'll take your leads and they'll enrich that data with credit scores so that when the sales team gets on, they can actually close them and they know if they're gonna buy. And then number 3 is what I call insight extraction. So you can look at their data and based on the data say, hey, your best customers are in these areas or these states, or they like these things. And then you can actually change your targeting with ads or organic content to target more of the customers in those specific areas. Which takes us to skill number 9, which is no code AI development with an income potential of $400 to $500 per hour. Now, a little bit of a warning is someone using AI agents will replace you if you don't build them. The benefit is they work 24/7, they don't complain, they don't need days off, and they don't have any problems in life to deal with, right? They never mess up. So the steps to build an AI agent would be number 1 is define define the agent's job. So you map it out A to Z and make sure the agent is built right. So is it going to do chats? Is it going to do calls? Is it going to answer emails? Like, make sure it has a specific function as you're building it out. Do not try to build something that is for everyone. Have something specific. Number two is then train the model with real data. So one of the things that I'm doing, for example, is we are using trainer chat. So we have real life customer data, and then we're feeding it to say, hey, this is what good looks like, and this is what bad looks like. And so it makes it get better continuously over time. And then number three is deploy, monitor, and then optimize output. So you have to measure the output so it gets better and better over time, because if you're giving it a 7 out of 10 and you want to get to 10 out of 10, you have to say, hey, these ones are good, these ones are bad. And eventually it will continue to cut out the bad ones and it will only use the good ones. And again, I brought this up a few times, but that's exactly what we're doing with trainer chat, because we feed the algorithm so that it gets better and better and better and better and better. Now, I know this can seem overwhelming, and for a lot of you, you may not think you can do this, but I want to let you know that if you made it to the end of this video, you're different and you're definitely here for a reason. I do think AI is the future, and I do think you should get paid to use AI in other people's businesses, but you can't drag your feet, you can't delay. You got to learn this stuff now, because in a few years, you're going to get left behind. Now, if you want to see what funnels I use to make over $115 million in sales, you can click on that right here.